Sup nerds? So in today's video we're going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm basically going to give you what I want to happen in the movie. I'm going to give you 3 tier lists, one on the cameos I want to see, one on the old X-Men movies, and the one on the new X-Men lineup I want to see past Secret Wars. I'm going to give you a fun kind of little new category. We're going to have an over-under. If you know what betting is, like the sports betting, you'd understand what that is, but you'll see. But if you do enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos like this. We're going to be talking about San Diego Comic-Con. We're going to get to a Loki video, and there's so much more to come, so we'll be talking about that, and I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get straight into it. So first, we're going to start with the over-under category. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a line, and a line is basically about how many of the thing I'm going to say I think is going to happen. First off, we're going to go F-bombs. F-bombs, I'm going to say 20. So I think there's going to be 20 F-bombs. Logan had around 40, and that was like 10 minutes longer than this movie. And I think they're going to try to be a little bit more PG. If a parent brings a kid, it's not as vulgar. Personally, I think it's going to be a little over 20, but 20 is the line. So you can say it's a little bit under or it's a little bit over. So that's the premise. And then we have the original trilogy X-Men cameos. I said that I think there's going to be 20. We know of at least like maybe 5 or 6, and I think this movie is going to do a really good job bringing those guys back. And I think Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have a little bit more say and a little bit more influence on those older generation of X-Men rather than the new ones. I personally think it's going to be around 17, so I'm going to say under for that one. And we know where they're going to drive that little blue van, and there's probably going to be a few more characters in the van, and it's going to be pretty fun. But I think there's going to be at least 4 songs played in the car. I think one of them are going to be Taylor Swift, but we'll get to that in a second. Personally, I think they're going to switch pretty quick between those songs, so like there might be 4, but I think they're going to be in the car pretty long, so I'm actually going to say over 4. Next, we have fan-casted characters. Basically, John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic might show up in this movie, and that would be an example. Also, Channing Tatum as Gambit is another one. So the line's 2, but I think it's going to be over that. It would be really cool, but it may focus on more characters that like showed up in the other X-Men movies, like the Fox X-Men movies. Then we have Butt Slapped. We saw in the trailer the guy at the TVA was slapping Deadpool's butt. That was kind of weird, but whatever. I think at least 4. My prediction's a little bit under, but I'm going to say 4. And then we have the characters, actors, other roles mentioned. So we have Hugh Jackman, we have The Greatest Showman, we have Les Mis, we have Chris Evans could show up as Captain America or the Human Torch. Josh Brolin show up and him be referenced as Cable, but also be referenced as Thanos, or he could show up as both. That would be really cool. For me, that's going to be 5, but I think it's going to be a little bit over that. That would be really cool. And then cigarettes or cigars shown, I'm going to say 3, or it could be under. I think at least 1 shows up. It could definitely be under. There could be a joke where Deadpool goes, "Oh, no smoking, kids," and then it's like a whole like anti like smoking ad or whatever, or like he does something with like Headpool, and Headpool will be like the aftermath of like smoking for like 40 years or something like that. Some joke like that would be awesome. Now we're gonna move on to the tier list, and now we have our X-Men movie tier list. First, we're gonna start off in F tier. We have the Wolverine. The movie has a lot of good action shots. The chase scenes are really cool, but the storyline's kind of boring. It just feels like a side mission. Also, the like dream sequences with Jean is kind of cool until she appears when he's sleeping with Mariko, and that whole relationship's just it just feels wrong. Also, Dark Phoenix, just not a great story. We already did the Dark Phoenix storyline with the other original Last Stand movie, and then they give us this. It just kind of felt like half like done. X2, I can't even remember what the movie's about, to be honest with you. I like Kurt in the movie, Nightcrawler, he was really cool. Stryker's back, and he's like, "Oh, I made Wolverine," so that kind of storyline's kind of cool, but it's overall just kind of boring. Then we have C tier, we have The Last Stand, and we have X-Men Origins Wolverine. Those movies, just the groundwork for it is just kind of bad. I think seeing through Logan's life is cool, but like the whole part that's not that is just kind of weird. Like all the present day stuff, it's like, oh, you were with this girl and she's a mind-controlling X-Men. Oh, and she can make people do stuff. And she was like, no, it was like real love. Also, The Last Stand just also kind of felt forced. Then you have B tier with X-Men, First Class, and Apocalypse. As a kid, I remember really liking Apocalypse. I was like, oh, this is one of my favorites. But I do see a lot of flaws with it. I do think Magneto in it is awesome. I think he's folding great. I love the Quicksilver scene in it when the mansion blows up and he goes and Quicksilver saves everybody. That's really cool. cool. I know that took them a really, really long time to work on, and I thought that was great. First Class was awesome, seeing them, like, learning their powers, and how Professor Xavier is just, like, this morally good guy. I think that's also a problem with Dark Phoenix. It, like, shows, like, him being bad, and, like, I think a lot of movies nowadays, like, just want to focus on, like, oh, this is gruesome, and this is, and the world is terrible, and it's like, what? And it's like, you should be focusing on the hope of the characters, the hope that people can be better, and that is Professor X, and then they show him, like, holding secrets from Jean, saying, oh, your father is dead, but then he's alive, and it's just kind of weird. And then you have X-Men, the first movie. I think they did a perfect job with it. The black leather, kind of weird. That's why I'm so excited to see them in their comic book suits in Deadpool and Wolverine. That's going to be awesome. Also, the fight choreography was really cool. Just the storyline was fun. Sabretooth is awesome. Magneto's great. I love him pointing guns back at people. And also, a plus side to this, Kevin Feige and Ke Quan were both on this movie. Ke Quan was working on the fight choreography, and then you have Kevin Feige sneaking Hugh Jackman in and showing him comic books because the director said, no comic books. Like, you're not allowed to have them. So, Kevin's like, yeah, we're going to need comic books. And now you're seeing him get to play with his dream of the X-Men and what he wants them to be. And I think he wanted to take the Avengers route because that's all he really had, being the executive of Marvel Studios. And now that he gets to play with the X-Men, it's like a dream come true since he was on that first movie. And then A tier, we have Deadpool 2. It's a Deadpool movie. But I do think that Deadpool 1's slightly better. That's why it's an S tier. Ryan Reynolds is amazing as Deadpool. That's why I'm so excited for this movie. I just hope that Marvel will make sure they do a good job with this movie, because when you just let Ryan Reynolds and the rest of that cast just work on the movie and let them say almost whatever they want, I think that will be amazing. X-Men Days of Future Past is one of my favorite movies of all time. So is Logan. I'll get to Logan in a second. But X-Men Days of Future Past just brings those two amazing casts together, and they finally get a good script, and the writing was amazing, and the acting was amazing, and the little talks between characters, like you saw Professor X, James McAvoy, talk to Patrick Stewart as Professor X, and that little talk was amazing. That's why that one line got brought back up in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Just seeing the X-Men movies, realizing that, hey, these are just Wolverine movies. Let's just have Wolverine based around those two casts because he was just always there. Logan is fantastic. A lot of the movies just very gruesome and awesome. The fight scenes are amazing. It's funny. It's heartbreaking. It's just so sad. And I was watching it with my girlfriend earlier, and she was like, hey, you didn't warn me how gruesome and sad and terrible this movie is. I'm like, yeah, I see that now. I probably should have warned her because she kind of gets iffy with that stuff, but she really likes the Deadpool movies. But Logan is just brutal until the last 40 minutes, and you finally get to see him open up. One of my favorite things from one of these bad movies, the Wolverine, you have Yukio, who in that movie can see people's deaths, and she says, hey, you're gonna die on a table holding your heart, and you die that way. And yes, he does die kind of in that way in the movie. He flatlines, but then he comes back. But you can also take that into Logan, and you see him on his back. He's not really holding his heart. He's holding Laura, Daphne Keene's character, X-23's hand, and he's holding her because that is his heart. He is so angry and miserable throughout his whole life. He has glimpses of good and just amazing things, but then he's tortured, or then his love interest dies, or the people close to him leave him, or stuff like that. Finally, he will be able to know that everything's gonna be okay, and that he can just let go and everything's alright. And then Hugh Jackman's gonna come back in Deadpool and Wolverine. That's why Kevin Feige was telling Hugh Jackman, hey, don't come back for this movie. Don't ruin your legacy. And I think Hugh felt that. And Hugh's like, if this is way different than Logan, and we know in our heads that this is another character, then they're not going to ruin it. And that's why I think Ryan Reynolds took so good care of this movie, because he knows if he ruined Hugh Jackman's legacy as Wolverine, he was done. He's gone. He knows how important this movie is. Let's move on to the next tier list. And here's a tier list of the cameos that I think are going to appear in Deadpool and Wolverine. This tier list is made by The Break Room, a side company from New Rockstars. If you know who they are, there you go. But if you don't, oh my gosh, if you like me, go check what they do. They are one of my favorite YouTube channels ever. So go check them out. They're amazing. This tier list is not just, hey, how cool would this be if they showed up? This is how likely and combined with how cool it would be if they showed up. In my yeah, no, I have the Storm from newer X-Men trilogy. So I think that, like, really people didn't really like her, so I don't think she'll show up. Elektra from Daredevil, I don't really just see a scenario where she shows up. Tom Cruise, I think people are thinking because he could be a variant of Iron Man. I doubt it. Chloe Bennett, I believe her name is, from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe. I don't really see a reason. Also Phil Coulson, maybe referenced in, like, talking wise, but I doubt it. Morbius, I don't think Sony would allow it. Same thing with Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland. Miles Morales, I doubt that Sony would let that happen. And then on the end, you have Apocalypse there. I doubt they are going to have Apocalypse. Maybe, because they have Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight. Crocodile Loki, cool character, I don't think he'll show up. Daredevil, again, don't think he'll show up. Sylvie, maybe, because I think we're going to lean into the TVA, but I doubt she'll show up. If she does, it'll be for a couple scenes, then she'll be gone. Jubilee, in some reincarnation, maybe. Not this actress, though. Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern. Again, I don't think DC would allow that, but it would be funny. Nick Fury, maybe. Also, I think definitely referenced, but I don't think he'll be there. Tobey Maguire, really hope so. Domino, I think if she was going to show up, she'd be at the birthday. So I don't think she'll be there. Doctor Strange, I don't think so. I'll get to that why in a second. Doctor Doom, I think if you're going to bring him in the Fantastic Four, don't, like, show him and then be like, oh, whatever. Unless it's the old, like, Doctor Doom, maybe. Doubt it. Kang, not going to happen. And then Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man would be awesome. Wesley Snipes as Blade, personally, I haven't watched those movies, so I don't really have a care for him. X-Men 97, that would be cool if Deadpool hopped into, like, an animated world and he was, like, all animated and recreated, like, the Spider-Man meme with the Hugh Jackman Wolverine and the Wolverine in there. That would be pretty cool, but I doubt they'd do that. Darwin, of course, get justice for Darwin. Oh my gosh, I really hope that happens, but I doubt it will. He should not be dead. Jon Favreau, I think he was in Daredevil. I think he plays Foggy Nelson. Maybe, just because they have access to him. But I doubt it'll happen. Cyclops, I don't mind the character. I think he's nice as Cyclops, but he's not my favorite. Colossus, again, sure it'd be cool, but I feel like he would have already shown up. We have Bobby Drake as Iceman. Holy folds, that would be amazing if he shows up. I think he'll show up for a second, or maybe a little bit longer. Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, there's rumors about Hulk fighting Wolverine. That would be amazing. Chris Evans as Human Torch. I think he shows up for a little bit and then he gets killed off or something like that. But that would be awesome. Mobius and B-15 as the TVA agent. That would be really cool. I think they'll show up for a split second and then they'll be out of there. You have Josh Brolin as Cable. Cable's sick in Deadpool 2, but I don't see much of a reason to bring him back. Maybe you bring him back as Thanos and then also as Cable or something. Something fun like that, but maybe he's just, like, talked about. You have Loki. I think we see Yggdrasil, the Yggdrasil tree where he's sitting there. Miss Minutes, I think definitely she shows up. Thor, I think what Deadpool should do is just run through all the Marvel movies. That would be awesome in, like, a post-credit scene or, like, through the credits. Would be awesome. And then the two other versions of Wolverine, the one in X-Men Origins and then the one in Apocalypse, I believe. I just think there's going to be a quick scene where they're just running through universes. Oh, here's this. Like the animated one would be a quick split-second thing, but I doubt it'll happen. Vinnie Jones as the Juggernaut, he has to say the line. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch! T-Swizzle as Dazzler. I think it's going to happen. I really, really think it's going to happen. If it doesn't, that's fine. I think one of her songs are going to show up in the car. That'll be cool, but I really want her to be Dazzler. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen as Professor X and Magneto. I think they're going to be in it for a decent amount, but not going to be in there too long because it's just not about them, really. But it would be cool to see them. Storm, please make her one of the main, like, cast of the movie where she's on, like, the big team with Deadpool and Wolverine. That'd be awesome. Daphne Keane as X-23. As I said, I loved Logan. She's great. And she's older, and she was just on The Acolyte, so I think it'd be really cool that Disney's already like, hey, what's up? And it's like, oh, you want to head over here and go film with them? That'd be sick. And we have Walker Scoville, I think, as maybe Kidpool, James McAvoy, and Michael Fassbender as Professor X and Magneto would be also really cool. I think they're going to get a bigger role if they're in it. Evan Peters as Quicksilver, if you could have him in a Disney Plus show, I cannot see why he would not show up in a big Deadpool and Wolverine movie. I think he's definitely going to show up in a cool, like, slow down scene. Jennifer Gardner as Elektra, Ben Affleck Daredevil, James Marsden as Cyclops. I think he's got a lot of banter with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and that would just be so much fun if he was like on the main team. As I talked about fan cast before, Channing Tatum as Gambit would be amazing. I just think people have been waiting so long to see that, and this is the movie to do it. And then we have Wong. Wong shows up in everything, so why not? And it's the multiverse stuff, and it's like sorcerer stuff, and I just think it would be perfect if he has the sling ring that Deadpool steals or something like that, and he's like, oh, here you go, and then he's like, oh, you want to meet the Avengers or whatever? And that would be a really cool way to do it. And now we have the tier list of who I think is going to show up in the new past Secret Wars X-Men lineup. Angel Salvador, which we saw Zoe Kravitz play in X-Men First Class, I believe. Domino, we've already seen. Warpath, Shatterstar, Angel, Dazzler, and Wolfsbane. If they show up, sure, that'd be really cool. They could be one of the main cast, but for right now, I don't see them being like any crazy character. Bishop and Forge, I think, are two really fun characters that can just show up real quick in a show or in a movie or whatever, and they can just be kind of like a plot device. They have a lot of connections to like time travel. I think who has a more connection to time travel and this version of the X-Men is Cable. I think Cable's going to definitely show up, and he's going to be a main plot in a couple movies or in a couple shows. I think Cable's an amazing character. Deadpool and Wolverine, I think past Deadpool and Wolverine and Secret Wars, I think Hugh Jackman's definitely done, and they'll get somebody to play like a teacher version of Wolverine or like an older version. I think they need to phase out just straight up Wolverine for now and just like leave it to Hugh. Moira McTaggart, she has a lot of connections with Professor X, so she'll show up every once in a while, maybe a plot device for a movie or whatever. Just there. We have Havoc, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Colossus, Sunspot, Banshee, and Kitty Pryde. I think you can place them into main. I think it's just whatever storyline that Marvel wants to do and whoever they think they can cast as these characters and make them interesting. But I think they'll all definitely just be there at least. But then you have your usual main cast. You have Beast, Professor X, Magneto, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Mystique, and then Iceman. And then you have two ones that I think are going to show up and might be out of them, like in the main focus, but I don't know if they necessarily need to be, is X-23 and Franklin Richards. I think Franklin Richards should stick to the Fantastic Four and stay with them a while, and then maybe go into the X-Men, but he should not be in the main X-Men cast. X-23, again, should show up, and she should be important, but because of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine being like the whole X-Men saga of all that Fox X-Men stuff was basically just, yeah, where's Wolverine at? I think we need a little bit of a break from him, but seeing X-23, hopefully Daphne Keane come back for those movies would be awesome. The characters that I think have not gotten enough screen time in these movies and that need to have main focuses on a Disney Plus series or a movie is definitely Magic. I think we haven't seen Magic enough. I think you can bring Anya Taylor-Joy for that. Hopefully she would come back for those movies, but I think she's just such an interesting character. I love Nightcrawler in the newer X-Men movies and the older ones. I think he's just such an interesting and fun character, and in X-Men 97 he was great. Rogue and Gambit should be the new Cyclops and Jean Grey. Seeing them in X-Men 97 made me realize how much fun though that duo is, and I think Gambit, it needs to be focused on more. Like, he is so cool, and I think that would just be amazing. Jubilee, do her justice. She was a lot in the X-Men 90s series. Yeah, and I think you should focus on her in live action. She was shown every once in a while in these new X-Men movies, but then it's like, yeah, we're not going to give you a big role though, which is, it's just weird. Like, they'll give her like a cool like suit and her jacket or whatever, but then won't give her a big role. It's just kind of weird. And then the character, I think, is just the best, and you got to do justice for Halle Berry. Like, you need to give this character a central role. Like, she should feel like the new Wolverine. Like, these movies should run through Storm. I think the coolest thing about what Marvel is doing now is that they're not afraid to make them comic accurate. People were scared of the superhero genre because you got stuff like the old Incredible Hulk movie just did not feel like a superhero movie. You got some weird shows and whatever, and it's like kind of just felt like a side thing. Now superhero movies are like a main staple of going to the movies, and I think Storm talks in monologues as she's like attacking people, folding aura to the max, folded like a million aura every folding time she attacks someone. Now we're getting to the things I really want to happen in this movie. Number one is T-Swizzle jam out in the car. I really hope they play some sort of Taylor Swift music in the car. It would be amazing just to hear Deadpool just jam out to T-Swizzle, and his connect, like Ryan Reynolds' connection with her is just like really nice, and I just think that'd be really fun. I need the younger and older X-Men team up together, some sort of work away with their powers, just like working together would be really cool. James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart working to defeat Cassandra Nova would be awesome. As I said before, I think Deadpool and Wolverine should do a run-through of all the MCU movies and maybe some TV shows. I think that would be awesome in a credit scene in the actual movie. I also think he should do that with the Fox X-Men movies, maybe a Fantastic Four movie, maybe the older like Blade movie or Hulk movie or something like that would be really cool. In the post-credit scene, we get the new lineup of X-Men or a new lineup of the Avengers kind of teased. We kind of get their silhouette or something, so you don't see the actual actor, but you see like kind of what the character could be. That would be awesome. Or we get like some other form of the Illuminati and like Deadpool or Wolverine kills them or something. That would be cool. But somebody said this post-credit scene is going to be amazing, so we'll have to go see what it is. We need a Bobby Drake Iceman versus Pyro fight. I think we kind of got that in the other X-Men movies. Like, we didn't really get to see that. We got to see them kind of butt heads, but we didn't get to see a straight-up fight, and I think that would be awesome, because those are the kind of characters, like fire versus ice, but I don't think they had the technology that we do now, so I think doing it now would be amazing, and it would look awesome. I do not want to see a Jean Grey versus Scarlet Witch fight. We need to save that for Secret Wars. The X-Men versus Avengers storyline should be either in a movie after Secret Wars or should be in Secret Wars. Like, especially the characters that we know now, they need to fight. That would be awesome. Like, but it should not happen in this movie. It should save that for Secret Wars. That would be amazing. We need a little, bye Yu-Gi-Oh! And then she goes, bye Wade. That would, just once. I just need to see her show up. That would be awesome. Obviously, we need a little Cable, Thanos, Josh Brolin joke. We need an Evan Peters, Aaron Taylor Johnson, speedster, slow down race. Would be amazing. Or team up fight, or fight against each other, or something like that would be awesome. Just seeing them fight each other would be amazing. We need a Hulk and Wolverine fight. We need it. Hold up. I just gotta show you guys something real quick. I have this little metal plate poster, and yeah, we need to see this. This would be awesome. Just if we got this scene in like slow-mo, and you have him like literally punching him, and it's literally this shot, like in front of us, and you just see him like punch him, and it kind of like freezes. And it's like, that look familiar or something like that. That would be really cool. But I love this poster. I need to see Wolverine just literally driving his motorcycle and looking really cool. And then you have Deadpool just sitting with his like knees tucked, and he's just sitting there in the freaking sidecar and just being like, just jamming out, just chilling. Deadpool's like, oh my gosh, do you have my favorite characters here? It's like Iron Man, dead. Captain America, retired. It's like, and he's like, I don't want to go to the MCU. Like, what? They're all dead or they're retired. Like, I don't want to be here. And he's just pissed off. That would be funny. And then Vanessa having a kid or something, and she names the kid Cher would be awesome. And yeah, just a reference to the other Deadpool movies would be great. But that's pretty much it. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Go see the movie. I'm gonna try not to spoil it for you guys. I'm going to see it today, and I'm stoked. So, go see it. If you do enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get more videos like this in the future. Again, we said we're going to do a San Diego Comic-Con video, and we're going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, and we're going to be talking about the new MCU movies and shows and everything. So, stay tuned. I'm going to be trying to do a new series that I've been waiting to do for a while, somewhat soon, but I want to make sure I do it right, and I want to make sure I'm locked in. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoy. And have a fantastic day. And if you kind of have a fantastic day today, have a fantastic day tomorrow. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later, nerds!